What is up, you guys? Welcome to another Thursday with Spencer here on FTM Transtastic, and my glasses are being reflections. I can't. Okay. Anyways, I have something to tell you. This is Kira. Kira thought it'd be a great idea to pee on almost $350 worth of shoes. So now, she's currently on sale for roughly $350. If anyone's interested in a long-haired black cat, please let me know. But anyways, this week we're talking about the future and how we view the future. Do we see ourselves in the future? How we see ourselves in the future, etc. And honestly, I don't really look into the future that often. I don't really think it's a bad thing either. I kind of just live a life in which that, you know, looking too far in the future really it didn't really fit how I exist in this world. And what I mean is that, you know, at the age of 17, I enlisted into the United States Air Force, and then I was deployed. I mean, 2 deployments. And, you know, in that type of field of work, you don't really think too far ahead because, you know all too well that you may not get there, right? My buddies and I, when we were deployed, we kind of just thought it through the next assignment, the next, you know, MRE, the next minute. And that's kind of how we just lived our life and how we kind of, you know, battled what we were going through overseas, and it kind of worked out. I think that it made me a little more connected with the moment, which I think is very important. I took things that people may see as just kind of, you know, frivolous or unimportant as something very, very, I guess, important, and just something that you should give a lot more of your time to. Like, for me, the next pickup game was much more important than, the 30 days I had left on this deployment, or whatever the case was. So I kind of just focused on those things and that moment and today than seeing where I'd be after this time. And then at the age of 19 and 20, I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia for the first time, and that was a very scary time for me because, you know, it was stage 1, but it's still cancer, and I've never had, you know, an expiration date placed on me before. So when I was going through that, I didn't look through what it'd be like after remission. I kind of just looked to, the next chemotherapy appointment, the next blood draw, the next whatever, and enjoyed what I had going on there. When I look at things like this, I kind of am able to celebrate the smaller steps as opposed to looking at the big picture of things. You know, I celebrated, my last chemotherapy day, which was a huge thing, or, you know, however many chemotherapies I've already gone to, how it's, one less than what it would be versus, you know, possibly being 45 days out of a bone marrow transplant and possibly being, you know, in remission, whatever the case was. And I enjoyed looking at it that way because there was so much uncertainty with whether or not there was going to be a future in that situation. And then, you know, at the age 22, 23, which I was on Transtastic for this, I was diagnosed again. And so I don't know if you guys know the statistics of being diagnosed with cancer twice, but they're not great. So I kind of, again, didn't look at it, or I didn't look at my life as, you know, having the need to have further plans. And that kind of sounds really depressing, but it really saved me from falling into depression, because when I look at it that way, I'm able to, like I said, stay in the moment, stay where I am, and celebrate the steps that I've made to being the person that I've wanted to be. And those steps are so much more important to me than, you know, achieving the goal. So when I went remission twice, you know, I kind of just still look at it day to day and event to event and time to time, and that kind of makes me feel a lot more just connected with everyone around me and the things that are happening, and a lot more appreciative that when something comes to fruition, when something comes to pass, that, you know, I've actually enjoyed the milestones along the way, as opposed to just trudging along to this grandiose picture in the end. I do that a lot with my transition, you know? I celebrate, it was very important to me when I started T. It was very important to me when I changed my name, when I was 1 year on T, when I'm 2 years on T. And I know a lot of trans people see that as well, and that's something that they're very excited about and they talk about. But for me, you know, I never looked at, you know, maybe in 3 years I will be post-op. Or I didn't look at it like when I first started T that in a year I'll be drastically different. I kind of looked at it as like, shot 1's done. That's great. Can't wait for next week to get shot 2 out the way. And that's kind of how I enjoyed and watched and viewed my transition. I never really looked at it that soon I will be, you know, blending as male, or soon I won't have to wear a binder, or soon I won't do this. I just kind of looked at it as, you know, I'm 6 months away from 3 months on T, or a year on T, or I'm 6 months away from, you know, whatever the case is. And even then, that far is usually too long for me. And I think that, you know, those defense mechanisms I set up because of how I worked or the circumstances that my life held bleed into all my other personal things. And again, I don't really find it a bad thing or a negative thing. It's just kind of how I cope, right? And how I live and how I experience life. And I think it's a good way to experience life. So I am not one to look forward to the future so much. I know it kind of sounds really depressing because of like the circumstances that my life exists, but for me it actually is very beneficial and it's very helpful. I can enjoy being able to sit back and look at the little things and how, you know, a little while ago I didn't have those things, and how happy having those things now make me, as opposed to, you know, looking at all the things I want to be and all the things I want to go and everything like that, because, you know, for me, I might not make it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is not what you guys thought this video was going to be about, but I hope you guys are having a great week and are gearing up for an even better weekend. Leave in the comments below if you're someone who looks to the future, or if you live in the present like I do. We are discussing our new edition, so stay tuned for that. It'll be released fairly soon, I'm sure. But yeah, it's Thursday. It's Spencer. Until next time.